Hi, and welcome back to Old School. Today is an interesting one. I thought I was going to be doing the second part of the supplements, but I've had some very wonderful developments over the last couple of weeks in regard to coaches for my writing for my book. And it really it's all very overwhelming and exciting and terrifying, and so it kind of puts me in both the emotional and mental quadrant, to be perfectly honest. And last week I had the first welcome Zoom, and it was just mind blowing. Just information after information after information. The insights I got from just that 30-minute Zoom probably could have walked away and gotten my money's worth for the coaching, to be perfectly honest. But then I get 5 1-hour sessions with one of the coaches for more of the word craft and being able to go through my actual words. Not that she can't talk to me about other things, but that's her kind of wheelhouse. And then Bob's overarching uh, guidance comes in the form of the getting it across the finish line, the query letters, the publishing, the book proposals, podcasts, speaking engagements, things like that is where he's going to talk to me and get me on that path. And he said there will be a publish date chosen. Just boom, boom, boom. It's like, okay, we've had the coin toss, and now I'm off to the races. And so anyway, then today, 2 days ago, I got heard back from the coach that will be doing the wordcraft, and she had been booked all the way to April, and I have to get all my sessions booked in between now and June. So she texted me and said, "Hey, I can get you in Thursday if you can get me your words tonight." It's because they want them 2 days before, 5,000 words. And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Don't worry about them being good." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not." So anyway, shot him off to her, and that was just like, whoa, to begin with. And then today we had our Zoom, and she couldn't have been more gracious. I don't expect either one of them to have gone, oh, this is horrible, set it on fire and throw it out. Although when we were chatting, she did joke that she's written many books, and have been times where she's felt that way and done that. But she didn't feel that way about my work, thank goodness. It was a majority of positive comments. Of course, there was going to be feedback. I've never done this before. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. She said nobody does the first time they write a book, and she's not really sure that they do even moving forward sometimes. But this was just so positive. And the interesting thing is she, as an author, was able to, how like a chiropractor, you go in to see them and they reach over and touch you, and it's the most painful spot on your body, and it's like, how do they know that? How on earth did they know that? Well, she went over content, what I was looking for, where I wanted my book to fall in regard to who it was for, the audience, what was the felt need, all of these good things. So we were going over all of that. Then we were going to dive into the actual words, and she was just so beautiful in her ability to describe to me what she's, like the bones here are incredible. But now we've got to shape this, and we've got to, if this is what you're trying to say, if you don't want it to be this genre, but you want it to be this, or this is your message and you're crafting, then here's the way your story needs to go. And so that was awesome. But then she decided to go through and show me how she felt that would develop in the form of paragraphs and chapters and opening sentences for each chapter. And she was blown away by some of the sentences that drew her so completely in to the moment of what was happening to me, whether it was an abuse situation or a loan, or just whatever the dynamic was. She was like, these are incredible. She goes, I feel you. You drew me in and you kept me reading, and these little nuggets are what propels the reader along and literally puts them in your shoes. And while everybody's situation won't be identical, that isn't the point. For me is that people understand and can relate, and they can feel the empathy and the compassion and understand that it's not somebody who's lived a perfect, untraumatized life trying to tell them how to heal and where to go and what to do. And what I've learned, instead, it's literal. I mean, they can, it's palpable what happened to me, and for her to give affirmation to how I have put that down, because I was called to write this by my king, and I wouldn't know what to say. It just kind of poured out of me. I was telling her that even the fact that it's divided the way it is, I don't even recall making that decision. I know that sounds crazy, like I early onset dementia, but it seriously do not recall making that decision, but there it is. And she wasn't opposed to it, but wanted me to be open to potentially having it cross-sect a little differently, potentially. Right now, we're working on the story craft of all of it, and she just was precious. I mean, she was moved to tears for what I had to go through, and just didn't believe that, of course, didn't believe that anybody should go through that, but like that I was sitting here, relatively normal. And she knows that when you sit down to put your story to the paper, that while you may have healed and you may have walked it through, which I have, it brings up a lot. And it is very vivid, and it's beyond vivid. And if I can make her or the reader cry, for me, it's just like, obviously, literal. So today was so incredible as a bit of a culmination, because I was praying up until today that I would prepare my heart and my mind for what they would have to say, that they, if they did say that it wasn't well written, or that I couldn't move forward, or we had to scrap it and start over, I was prepared for that. And not that I would have thought that was mean. I wanted the truth. My entire life, I've not gotten the truth. So I want the truth. I want trust. I want to feel the integrity and the trust, that I'm handing his story to them, and that they're going to be straight with me. And she was. And this was really an incredible day. I have work to do. I have plenty of work to do. But this was my story, his story through me, that he knew before time would be used now for the benefit of others. And that just, it moved me to tears. I was crying through most of our session. And I said, this is just so funny, because I don't know that I cried that much when originally. But I am just ecstatic, because this could not be going better. And this is a miracle. This is, he called me, he equipped me, and here it is coming to fruition. And even if this were to never see the inside of a publishing house, this understanding that that what I have to say and writing down his story for me could have that kind of impact. And it has, through each individual that I've encountered. My photographer for my cover, my, every person along the way. It just has been the most incredible thing. And I just could implore you that even if being an author or writing a book doesn't seem like your bag, that you at least journal what you've gone through, and journal your life, because it'll shape how you want your children to see you, and how you can help them develop those mechanisms and those skills. And even if it hasn't been some grand trauma-filled thing, there are still decisions that are to be made, and there's still trials and tests that come. And so being able to write it down and then going back and maybe even jotting in the margins when an answer to prayer came or how you handled these different situations, it's cathartic, it's wonderful, and who knows, maybe you'll decide at the end of it that you want to go self-publish or something. But this has been just a 10-year emotional journey, and what it's done for me mentally too, to sort out the things that I use logic as a defense mechanism, as you will see when the book comes out. And that's exactly what Old School is about, is paralleling all of those things that I've walked through, with my king, and what the world currently has to offer cannot compare and definitely doesn't have the same outcomes. So thank you for joining me here every time I put up a new video, for tolerating my ums and likes and my weird laugh. I'm not supposed to say bad things about myself. I'll get in trouble with my daughter, my editor. But if you do like what you see here and what's going on, hit that subscribe, hit that like, make a comment if you'd like. I'd love to engage with everybody. And this may be launching towards a podcast. I was informed I need to speak. I need to go on speaking engagements, both prior to and during the promotion of the book, and develop a podcast. So, my fear of being in front of a video that nobody's in front of me, and then now having people hear me in a grander scale, I hope. And I would love it if you could all move your subscriptions along accordingly and come on and join me over there as soon as that gets up and running, and I will let you know here. So thank you for coming to class. I appreciate each and every one of you. And class dismissed.